All right, good morning. I am leaving Woods Ferry. Took me a little longer to get launched. It's 8:42. Took me a little longer to get launched this morning than I wanted to, but you know what? That's fine. I'm only going another 18 miles today, so there's no rush. I want to take it easy, rest up a little bit, not push myself too hard, get to Holton Creek, and relax. Definitely going to stop off and check out Suwannee Springs, swing by the Suwannee Canoe Outpost to pop in and say hey, and then from there, after there, it should just be, I don't know, another 7 miles from the outpost to Holton Creek. There were two other groups at Woods Ferry last night. The first one was 2 guys and 2 canoes. The second one was an older gentleman and a young man, and they were in one canoe. And all I have to say is if there's not much bank to pull off on, the courteous thing to do, if you're not sure if anyone else is coming, is to not block all the bank. Launching this morning was interesting because that first group in the 2 canoes blocked off all the prime real estate for taking off or launching back into the river. So I just kind of had to finagle my way around, load everything up, push it in the water, drag it around one of their canoes, and then pull it up in between the 2 so that I could climb in and get going. Oh, I feel good. It's day 5. Yeah? Tuesday was day 1, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and today's Saturday. So yeah, day 5. I am losing track of time out here. All right. That's enough of my ugly mug. One more thing. Taught myself why to never go off without my phone, aka my camera. Was bringing the boat down the ramp, back down to the river this morning. It's the first thing I did. Well, before like taking stuff down in the pavilion and whatnot, first thing I did, I wanted to make sure that the boat was down by the river, so all I had to do was pack up all my stuff and take it down, and then I could load it up, whatever. Anyways, brought my boat down. I'm walking back up the ramp to get back up to the camp, and just upriver, there's a bend, and there's a little sandbar that goes out into the bend. There was a deer drinking water, and I didn't have my camera to take a picture because I'm a dum-dum. Just had to share. almost let it go unremarked. Back there was Suwannee Springs. Suwannee Springs marks 95 miles on the trip, which obviously I am past it now, which now makes this my longest trip to date. And with every paddle stroke moving forward, it will be my longest trip to date until I'm done, and I do one longer after this. Hell of a feeling. Alright, I just left the Spirit of the Suwannee Music Park and the Suwannee Canoe Outpost. Just checking in with them because they did my shuttle. And now it's on to Holton Creek. Got about 7.5 miles to go. And yeah, that'll be it for the day. I feel good. That's that early day yesterday really helped a lot. Feel a lot better today than I was yesterday. And this extra short day that I'm doing should help out a lot too. The water definitely seems to be moving better down here than it was up in Georgia. And being able to not have to portage is definitely beneficial. So yeah. Unless there's something cool that I want to stop and look at on the way. Next stop, Holton Creek. I am here at Holton Creek. I'm the only one here. Yeah, no one. I think the other groups that were at Woods Ferry with me, I'm not sure that they were looking to put that many miles in. The big group that had showed up and then left, I did run into about a mile, 1.2 miles down the river, at a rest stop, and they had stopped and camped on the bank there. I know they had said that they were shooting for like 7 miles a day. And according to my GPS, it took me 19 to get here. Which makes sense. It was a little less than that last year, but the river was higher and I could cut corners. So there was water in places. Obviously there was water in places where there's not water now. But it is, it's about 4:30 right now. I got here about 2 hours ago. And I'm sure you can hear the storm starting to, there's a storm starting to roll in. I've got 28 miles to do tomorrow. And I did that 19 in, how many, started at 8:30. There's a reason I don't teach math. 6 hours. So I did 19 miles in 6 hours, which was pretty good, and I was feeling good until I had to drag all my shit up the stairs, carry all my shit up the stairs in the baking hot sun to get up here to the cabins. So I think I'll get up a little earlier tomorrow so that I can get on the river a little earlier tomorrow. I pulled my boat up far enough away. I ended up leaving it in the same place I did last year when I was out here. But the river is significantly lower, so it's not like I have to worry about water rising and taking it away. So I won't have to drag the boat as far to get to the river tomorrow. It's just all the stuff. So I'll get up a little earlier tomorrow. Hopefully I can get on the river before 8:30. Shoot for like 8. 7:30 to 8, something like that. And then just do what I did today, just pound it out. Take stops as I need to. I know there's Suwannee Springs State Park, or it's Suwannee State Park. I don't remember exactly what it is. That I can stop at. And I think that's like 13 miles down the river. But I'll stop and stretch as I need to, and then just go until I get to Dowling Park. My body definitely appreciates the rest. I felt good today. Today felt good. Much better than the previous days had gone. I was exhausted. Probably the portages that took it out of me. But yeah. Got my Eno tarp up from when I had it up at the Rolling launch on Thursday night. It's Saturday now. Figured I should take it out and let it dry, because I hadn't pulled it out since it was up and it rained. My other tarp is dry. It was dry when I packed it up 2 days ago at Big Shoals, so I don't need to worry about that. I think that's just about done. So I'll take that down, put up my ridge line so I can start drying my other stuff. I don't know if you can see my clothes behind me on my hammock drying. Yeah. If you can't tell, I'm just blabbering on. These trips are nice, but when you do them solo, then you don't really have anyone to talk to. Leaves a lot of time for thinking. You better really like yourself if you're going to do something like this. All right. So, felt a little chicken with my head cut off this morning. But it is 7:59 and I am on the river. I've been using my watch as an alarm, and apparently, while 6:30, I can feel it and will wake up. 6 o'clock is too much for my body to ask for, apparently. Or I was just tired and needed that extra 20 minutes of sleep before I looked at the time and was like, oh shit, and got up, and hence the chicken with my head cut off. I wanted to be on the river before 8. I wanted to try to be on the river before 8. And I apparently just barely managed to do that. But I was successful in doing it. So we've got 28 miles to Dowling Park. I think the sign back there said 13.8 miles to Suwannee State Park, or Suwannee Spring. I don't remember what this park is. It's Suwannee State Park or Suwannee River State Park or whatever. I don't know. I'll double check it when I get there. But that's the first place to stop, and that's the first place to stop. I think with afternoon showers here, I just need to pound out as many miles as I can in the morning, so that this afternoon, if I get rain delayed, I can still make it to my planned campsite. So I am going to stop talking and focus on paddling, and I will check in periodically. Creek. time! Alright, it is right at noon, and I am pushing off from Suwannee State Park, Suwannee River State Park. Yeah, Suwannee River State Park. I'm just around a bend from the confluence with the Okefenokee. Now you're looking at how I'm keeping myself from overheating in this spray skirt. When I have the spray skirt on, you just take the tube off and whirl it down, and then zip this back up. And then if it starts to rain, I can just put everything back on real quick. Anyways, I've got about 14 miles to get to Dowling Park. There was a rumble of thunder a few minutes ago. I didn't check what time it was, but in the time since I heard the thunder to now, I went ahead and pulled out and ate a couple of strips of my beef jerky. So I think I've waited long enough. I think I should be okay. But I did 13 miles, or almost 14 miles, in a little over 3 hours, about 3 hours and 15 minutes. So if I can keep that same pace going down this way, I should be to Dowling Park by 3 or 4. Yeah, so barring any rain or thunder slowing me down or anything like that, yeah, making really good time today. The river is moving much better down here in these lower sections than it was in the upper sections. Probably, well, I'm not going to pretend to know how, I think the term is hydrology or whatever, how any of that works. Yeah, all I know is it's moving better. Plus, this cloud cover really has helped keep the temperature down. And then, of course, as a welcome to this section of the river, as I'm loading in, I hear a splash and look up, and the ripples were very obviously from a sturgeon. It was right over here. Yeah, it would have been right over here. But then as soon as I said that's a sturgeon, one jumped up in front of the boat ramp. So I am 100% absolutely in sturgeon territory. And yeah, maybe I will be lucky and be able to catch some on camera like I did my last trip. Not like I'm not gonna have plenty of river to do it on. Oh, and by the way, Suwannee River State Park was at about mile 118 on my trip. I'm halfway. I want to mark that I am literally halfway through my trip, mileage wise. I don't know how I feel. I feel like I should be more excited about it, but right now I'm just thinking I need to get to Dowling Park. I will probably feel a lot different when I finish later this week. But yeah, just moving right along, chugging right along. All right, Okefenokee North. Okefenokee North. This is not the Okefenokee that I camped on with Larry a while ago. And there's a spring just kind of dumping right into the water right up there. All right, bridge time, bridge view. Spring. And of course, as I turn the camera, a sturgeon jumps. You see the ripples, maybe. Oh, I should have pulled up my tube. Well, now I know why there's a power plant here. That was unexpected and fun. And I thought maybe just zipping up a little bit to my waist would be enough. Nah. Water still got in the cockpit. Went right up my torso. Oh, that was fun. That was fun. I thought I was done with that for the trip. That was yes. Yes. Got some more. Learn my lesson. Spray skirt's all done up. I'm a dum-dum. Crossing from river right to river left so that I could get a better view of Forest Spring when I come up on it up here in probably another half mile, and thought I should record. Maybe I should record as I'm crossing across the river, but I didn't. And as I'm doing it, 10 feet off to my left, friggin' sturgeon jumps up. It was freaking close. Not like super close, not to where I had to worry about it landing on my boat, but man, it would have made for a great shot. Really sucks only having 2 batteries. There is Ferris Spring. Super pretty. I'm a little less than 2 miles out. I've got looks like it's slacking off a little bit, but it's going to pick back up. I've got a pretty decent headwind as the storm is starting to roll in. So I'm hoping I can make it to camp before it really hits. I'll check back in a little bit, either when I've pulled off to wait out the storm or when I've made it to Delling Park. Well, at the risk of jinxing myself, about a mile later, things appear to have calmed down. Either way, looks like it's more like a mile and a half rather than a mile left. But I'm almost there. I'll check in again when I get there. Alright, set up in Dowling Park. I am in dry clothes, have the hammock set up, have my clothes drying out. I'm actually in the same pavilion that I was in last year, number 3. Funny story that. Walk in, number 1 is taken. Number 1 is down at ground level, short ramp, whatever. Number 2 is taken. It says, well, number 1 has a reserve sign on it. Number 2 has a reserve sign on it too, and that's the one Ethan was in last year. So I walk over and I look at 3, and 3 is good. There's no sign on it, so I'm like, sweet, I'll just take this one. I was in here last year. Go to check in with the camp host, and she lets me know, oh, 2 checked out this morning. You can stay in 2 if you want. So I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'm just staying 3. We'll just stay in 3. So I'm here. Made damn good time today. Okay. Yeah, made damn good time today. Did 28 point, it's trip though, 28.6 miles. Trip time was 7 hours and 38 minutes. And yeah, really good time. Weather was nice. It was overcast and not like the sun beating down on me most of the day, which was nice. But I think I'm going to actually try and get up earlier tomorrow, around 6 instead of 6:30, so that I can try and be out and on the river again, so that again I can get as many miles in the morning when it's nice and cool, before the sun comes out and it gets all like beat down on me and wears me out. Looking at another 28 point something miles tomorrow to Adams Tract, and then it'll be after that Granto Springs, and then Manatee Springs State Park. I'm almost done. It's downhill from here. Yeah. All right, I think my battery's about to die because I only have 2 batteries and the other one isn't charging. I'll check in with you later. Happy 4th of July. It is about 7:50 and I am off from Dowling Park, headed to Adams Tract. We have today, so we have tonight at Adams Tract, tomorrow at Gronto Springs, and then last night at Manatee Springs. So we've got 3 full days, and however long it takes me to get from Manatee Springs to Suwannee left. Yep. All right. Almost had a scare. Not almost had a scare. I did have a scare. I was looking down, getting things situated, and my knife was gone. And I'm like, oh no, where'd it go? And I thought it had, well, I didn't think it had fallen in the water because I didn't hear any splash. So I went back just a little bit because I drifted 10, 15 feet, 20 feet maybe down. Yeah, looked on the beach, it wasn't there. I unzipped the pocket. It's in my freaking pocket in my PFD. I just got this knife. This is my first trip with this knife. Oh man. Okay, so it's 10 miles to Lafayette Blue Springs Park. We're gonna stop there for a break. And then from there, we'll go to Peacock Slough and stop there for a break. And then from Peacock Slough, it'll be to Adams Tract, and then we'll be done for the day. And then, yeah, once we pass on from, well, actually, tomorrow, once we get past Brantford, that'll be the farthest I've been on this section, at least until we get to the confluence with the Santa Fe. So, right on, right on. Let's go. Got one. Really far off, but I got one. after a good 20-minute stretch break and a piece of beef jerky at Lafayette Blue Springs State Park, slight change of plans. Peacock Slough is about 7.5 miles from here. For about 12 miles from here is Convict Spring. And there's a store at Convict Spring, and where I can very likely get something cold, like an ice cream. So the new plan is to skip Peacock Slough for the stretch break and stop at Convict Spring for hopefully for some ice cream. I think that's a much better idea. But we've got Lafayette Blue Spring here that we're going to paddle past and get going. Peacock Slough. And then Adams Tract from here is 10.4 miles. Well, we're gonna go another about 3.5 and stop at Convict Springs for a break and something tasty. So goodbye, Peacock Slough. I have a date with something cold. Yes! Leaving the Suwannee River rendezvous where Convict Spring is. I spent $5 to get a can of orange soda and a ice cream cookie sandwich with chocolate chips around the outside, pictured here. And it was the best $5 I've spent in a while. It was yummy. It was refreshing, and then I checked my map, and the next thing I know, well, not the next thing I know, but I checked my map, and according to my map, I really only have about 5 miles to get to Adams Tract. So, yeah. Apparently I pulled out at the wrong spot. Pulled out back where the spring was. And the boat ramp's here. Whoops. That's my bad. Don't do what I did. Protect the spring. I didn't know there was a boat ramp down here. I'm a dum-dum. Alright. Last few miles of the day. And it is only 2 o'clock. I am making killer time today. Right, let's go. So the plan was to grab some footage of Royal Spring, but it's a freaking madhouse there right now. A lot of people. The water's really pretty, but yeah, it's a little crazy. So I didn't want to record for that. Interestingly, there was a young man sitting a little further down the river from even where the boat ramp is. 'Cause you've got the spring, a few hundred feet down is the boat ramp, a few hundred feet down more is this young man. Just sitting in the water, just looking around, enjoying the day. We nodded at each other, and I looked at him like, you got the right idea. And his response was, it's peaceful. I've learned quite a few things on this trip. Not just necessarily like about myself, but about life in general. You need to disconnect and divorce yourself from all of the nonsense and the craziness sometimes. And trips like this is a good way to do it. Here's the Suwannee Blue Spring. Looks like there's a visitor there. This one seems a lot quieter. That might be on private property, that's why. Alright. Let's keep going to Adams Tract. The takeout at Adams Tract is just as shitty at lower water as it is at higher water. Your only option is to come up the stairs. There's rocks on either side. Maybe if the water was a little higher, you could drag up on the rocks and leave it there. That's not exactly an option. So, yeah, I dragged this up here. I am more exhausted after that than I am after the 28.5 miles paddling today. Whoa. All situated here at Adams Tract. The only thing I haven't done yet is set up my hammock, but that's not going to be too hard or take too long. They've got the nice wooden pegs on here. It's just a matter of putting the straps on and hanging it up. Take like 2 minutes, and I'll do that shortly after I'm done recording. Yeah, so the camp host is very friendly. Came up and offered me some watermelon. Too bad I'm not a big fan of watermelon. But it was nice of him to offer it too. What I do think was really cool, though, is I saw a fox. I didn't even know there were foxes in Florida. But I looked it up, and it's a gray fox. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a picture of it or video or anything. And I'm really bummed about that, because it was really cool looking, real small. Yeah. In this trip, I've seen wild hogs for the first time, and I've seen a fox for the first time. This is super cool. So yeah, finally can't hear music coming from the river anymore. I guess the people who are just kind of chilling out there listening to it have decided to call it quits and go home. It is just about 6 o'clock in the evening now, so about an hour and a half of sunlight left. It really all depends on where they have to go. They might have to drive. Do you drive a boat? Sail a boat? You sail a sailboat. Anyways, they might have to take their boat somewhere, depending on how far they had to go. Plus they have to get it loaded up and all that stuff. Anyways, so yeah. Otherwise, I'm the only camper here. Yeah, it's warm. It is warmer here than in the other camps, and I wonder if that's because there's fewer trees. I don't remember it being this warm last year, but then again, it was raining. It rained shortly after we got here last year, so either I want it to rain or the sun needs to go down so that it can cool off a little bit. Yeah, so the plan tomorrow is camp at Gronto Springs, which is over 30 miles. I think it's like 32 miles from here. And I'll have to double check that. But a couple of miles upriver from it is Rock Bluff, which is where I ended my Santa Fe River trip last Memorial Day weekend. And they have that grill there that makes hamburgers and cheeseburgers. They make burgers, among other things, and it was delicious. So my plan is to stop there for dinner, and then I don't have to make dinner when I get to camp tomorrow night. But I get to have hamburgers. I get to have burger. I get to have a burger. I get to have a good burger, because the burger was good. As long as they're still open. I hope they're still open. But yeah. So get up early again tomorrow. I mean, to be completely honest, I set my alarm for 6 and hit snooze once and got up at like 6:11, but I was still on the river before 8. It wasn't much before 8, but it was still before 8. I want to do the same thing tomorrow. Yeah, as long as I can keep moving the way I've been moving, it should be another good day. I've had, like, past couple days have been some damn good paddling days, with the current moving and getting the rhythm. Last night I was a little sore, but I wasn't using the proper technique for paddling. For my forward stroke, I brought my hands in a little bit because it felt easier at the time. And then I got a camp last night, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, oh man, my arms are starting to get sore. So I went back to the other way, and it allows for a more efficient paddle. and for I guess economy of movement, really. Moving your arms less, moving your core more, like rotating your core more to get the strokes in, but definitely feels better and is less, I don't want to say it's less energy intensive, but my arms don't hurt, and that's a plus. So now I think I'm just rambling. Alright, well, I will check in I'll check in tomorrow. Probably won't check in again tonight unless something crazy happens or something cool and I want to get it on camera. But yeah, I'll definitely check in tomorrow when I get on the river, and yeah. Deuces. See this wooden peg that looks like it might be something that's really awesome to put a hammock strap on? Don't. Just don't.